The new series, Marvel Spider-Man.
Hey, what is going on, guys? It's the next big thing with his very first review for something, or I think it is, on my channel. And if it is my very first review, this is definitely something that deserves to be my very first one, because oh my gosh, did the Battle for Mewni have the best, it had the best ending to a television movie that I could, well, I don't really know if it's the best, but like right now I'm stuttering. I honestly almost never thought I would find the day to say this, but this show is almost right up there with Gravity Falls right now. Emotionally, storyline wise, and I love everything about it right now. And this is the part where I'm going to start talking about a little bit of some spoils that were inside of the movie. Now, just be prepared. If you haven't seen it, please do not listen to the rest of this review. Now, one part of the movie that really emotionally grabbed me was the part where even Marco cries, and he's also angry at Toffee at a certain part of the movie where Star is trapped inside of the wand, or yeah, I believe the wand, and the last remains of the magic that Ludo, or well, technically Toffee, had stolen from humans and everywhere else. Now, I understand that this isn't particularly an analysis video, but I still want to talk about it, and it's the fact that Toffee's body is made out of some inky-like material. And of course, that inky-like material, in my opinion, is not only a sign of his mortality in a way. I guess some of his body on the inside is, you know, kind of charred up and disgusting after years of usage, I guess. I'm not really too sure. But however, one thing that you might have already noticed by now is that it pretty much has almost similarly the same exact coloration as the used magic that we saw Star and Toffee both floating inside. So who knows, it might have something else to do with that as well. Now, here's the part where I'm going to start asking a whole bunch of questions that just, I believe, are gonna be answered after this episode. And no, the question is not where the heck is Jackie Lynn Thomas. The question is, what's gonna happen after this episode with Eclipsa? Is she good, or is she truly evil like everyone keeps claiming she is? And like I said before, spoiler review, Eclipsa is revealed in this episode, and her voice sounds very different from what I thought she was going to sound like. I mean, I do understand that at times you're not going to automatically figure out just by their voicings, you know, how evil they are, or, you know, simply by the way they act when you first meet them or first see them on the show. But she actually seemed like a really kind person, and even the young version of Queen Butterfly said this when she first met up with her to do the deal. One of the funniest moments throughout the entire movie was the part where Queen Eclipsa gets free from her crystallized tomb after all of these years, like I believe 3 centuries they said, and she says the words B4, and apparently it's a code on the vending machine for a Snookies bar instead of a Snickers bar. Or I think it was Snookers bar. Yep, Snookers bar. I honestly would make a joke saying, what would you do for a Klondike bar sort of thing reference, but this was technically a Snickers gag, so meh. And also, one major thing from the past that they didn't really touch up on like I thought they were is, why did Toffee kill Moon's mother, or did Toffee kill Moon's mother at all? I'm pretty sure he did, since he was the general of all the monsters, but we still did not get too much explanation as to why she was killed off. But this leads up to my next question: who will be the potential threat, the next threat upcoming in this season 3? Because remember, this is technically the first 7 episodes within the season. And after that, this leads up to my next question: who will be the next potential threat for season 3? Because so far, it seems like Ludo has retired altogether and actually doesn't seem like a villain anymore. He seems to be a good guy after learning that he was being controlled by Toffee the whole time. And hopefully you've seen the movie, because I'm about to spoil something super huge. There's a certain thing that happens to Toffee that makes him, you know, not be able to ever return ever again. At least, so I think. By the way, they totally killed him off. Yes, they killed him off. You should not be surprised by hearing that. I honestly do not see him coming back. I understand that he has regeneration and all this other stuff, but Star killed him pretty good. And in speaking of his death, I know this is an analysis video, but I really want to be one of the first people to say this. At the very end, his last messages is that he's the one with the plans, only he knows the outcome of what's going to happen next. Perhaps Toffee planned out something else that he had as backup backup in case something like this were to happen to him. And I guess that would kind of make sense, even though, you know, he finally got his finger back, because honestly, was that really his motive the whole time? We've waited approximately 2.5 seasons for him to finally get his finger back, and that was it. I thought after he got his finger, then he would have this ultimate take over the world power or something. It seems like the only reason why he did all of this was just so he can get back his finger. Like, what is so special about your finger where you have to kill almost everyone that gets in your way? From my perspective, that was a very strange, you know, revenge plan, but he definitely got his revenge, I guess, for like 5 seconds, and then he was killed off, but you know. And now, questions about the past. Was this truly Rastakor? We still have no idea, but maybe he's related to Rastakor, or he really is Rastakor, because even from that Battle of Mewni episode movie, we still have no idea how he has that gem in his eye. And now, as for the next question, were monsters always evil? From after what I've just seen, I think they always were, sadly. But however, as you would expect by now, not all monsters are evil. Even Ludo and even Buffrog, even the Lobster Claws guy, a bunch of them are not really truly evil. Some of them just simply have different sides of the story, and from what we've seen in Buffrog's house even, we even get to see board games that are clearly against humans. And even while Moon Butterfly and Buffrog are playing the board game, they even have a bunch of discussion towards the fact that, well, monsters try to attack humans and humans try to attack monsters, and they're both trying to protect their children and, you know, their own people at the same time. And even though in the very beginning Moon Butterfly pretty much disses the crap out of Buffrog, she begins to like him eventually and understands that, you know, they care about their children just as much as humans care about theirs. Now, the last question for today's discussion and review of this movie is, where the freaking heck is the High Commission? The Magic High Commission, to be more specific. Well, once they were put back in their pods by Moon Butterfly, they weren't exactly able to be regenerated right away. It was more towards the end where we had a small glimpse of them being revived. And of course, that was after the event of Star dipping down for the very first time, well, I guess the second time technically. And I absolutely loved that continuity that they had between Glossoric and Star. Remember the season 2 premiere whenever they did, you know, the episode My New Wand? Before this happened, in that episode, Glossoric was teaching her how to dip down. In that episode, he was claiming that the pot of stew was an example of magic, and that instead of being a skimmer, she needs to reach deep down inside of the stew, or, you know, the true ways of magic, and dip down for it, which is basically exactly what she did in this movie and pretty much kicked Toffee's butt. But, you know, this kind of gives me a question. Was she truly dipping down in the episode My New Wand? I guess she technically did, since she did use magic without her wand for the very first time. But she didn't truly dip down for the huge chunks until this very moment. And plus, her wings are now fully sprouted out like a mature human, so I believe that she's fully developed now. This must be ultimate proof that she has reached her full potential, and also Star is best princess. But anyways, let me get back on track and let's talk about the High Commission again and how they will be revived. However, according to Moon Butterfly, it doesn't seem like Lekman, on the other hand, is coming back anytime soon, so unfortunately I would have to say he might be dead, unfortunately. Like, I really hate to admit that. Now, as for Glossoric in the Book of Spells, I really don't believe that Glossoric is dead, but it's really surprising that we didn't really get to see him at the ending. But he is in the season 3 intro. I don't believe he's dead. But we did kind of see Toffee within Ludo's body within the season 3 intro, so I can't really say too much about that. But you know what, dagnabbit, I still have faith. I still feel like there's a way to revive Lekman. I believe that Moon Butterfly didn't collect those ashes for nothing. Hopefully those ashes can come and play one episode, and they can put them in the fountain of, you know, the sanctuary. Or, of course, in one of those pods that the High Commission were inside of. And that's pretty much what I believe will happen in the future, hopefully very soon. And that's only one of many things on my list of anticipations for this upcoming season. I cannot wait until Queen Eclipsa finally breaks free. Because remember, like Queen Eclipsa said, the contract between two princesses is more powerful than any type of magic. But you know, in that case, she said any type of crystal magic. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Toffee is dead, and now that he is, whenever we saw that crack in the crystal, she she's gonna be freed one day. And one last thing, whenever we saw Queen Eclipsa inside of the crystal in the season 3 intro, it looks like one of her hands are missing off of her body, but after watching this episode, we can clearly see that that was a glove that she was wearing and that she was just frozen in a different position. I see what they did there. Ugh. And with all of that being said, this is definitely the absolute end of my review for this amazing movie. I mean, of course, this was technically half analysis, half review, but you know, maybe I should change the title of my video. I think I'm gonna change it to, you know, half analysis, half review. I don't know. It sort of did the whole trick like Gravity Falls did, trying to emotionally grab me, because I nearly cried when I saw Marco crying as he was fighting for, you know, Star. And not too many people actually try to say this in their reviews too many times, but I really enjoyed the soundtrack. Like, the music in the background was really enjoyable. Whoever was doing that, they did a really great job with this. And Disney, please keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job. I love traditional animated stuff like this. I mean, it wasn't exactly something that was in the theaters, for example, but you know, it was something that I very much appreciated. Star vs. the Forces of Evil needed this, and I truly enjoyed it. Okay, that's the end of my review, and I really gotta stop talking because I'm still excited even after watching it like an hour ago. Alright, I'm done.